I announced at the very beginning of my broadcast. My name is Mike Harris, and I run a political commentary channel that prides itself on cutting through the noise with straightforward analysis. Today, I'm here to recount an incident that rocked the political scene in America, a moment that pitted two high-profile figures against each other in a live showdown. This isn't just another news snippet. It's a detailed account of events leading up to, during, and following a heated exchange between former President Donald Trump and Senator J.D. Vance. It all began on an overcast afternoon in Ohio, a state known for its decisive swing in national elections and a battleground for ideological debates. The setting was a large political rally in a suburb of Cincinnati, a venue buzzing with fervor, patriotic banners, and supporters donning MAGA hats and red, "Make America Great Again" t-shirts. The air was thick with anticipation as attendees from all over the region gathered to hear Trump and other key Republican figures address the crowd. This rally was critical not only for the electoral momentum, but also because it would inadvertently turn into a public display of political one-upmanship. In the weeks leading up to the event, tensions had been simmering behind the scenes. J.D. Vance, once a rising star known for his best-selling book and his time as a decorated Marine, had seen his political persona shift dramatically. Originally, Vance was regarded by many as an insightful critic of Trump, a man who wasn't afraid to call out populist rhetoric when he felt it was misguided. However, as the political winds shifted, Vance realigned himself with the former president's vision, earning him a spot among Trump's inner circle. Yet, lingering doubts and old resentments never truly went away. The contrast between his earlier fiery criticism and his newfound alliance with Trump set the stage for a confrontation that many had been waiting for. On that fateful day, as the rally roared with chants and applause, the program unfolded in its usual sequence. Local Republican figures took the stage first, their speeches laced with patriotic fervor and pointed critiques of the opposing party's policies. I was there, recording every moment, knowing that something significant was brewing. As the event progressed, it became increasingly clear that while the rally's agenda was to promote unity and optimism for the upcoming elections, there was an undercurrent of rivalry, an unspoken battle for who could best represent the party's ideals and energy. Then came the turning point. Donald Trump, the perennial showman known for his commanding presence and unorthodox communication style, stepped onto the stage. His entrance was met with a roar of cheers, and the atmosphere shifted palpably. What caught everyone's attention, however, was not just his confident stride, but the gleaming gold cross that hung around his neck. For many, the cross was a curious accessory, an apparent nod to religious values, yet somewhat at odds with Trump's reputation as a pragmatic, media-savvy businessman rather than a devout spiritualist. That subtle detail did not escape Senator Vance's notice. Almost as soon as Trump began to speak, Vance interjected with a barbed remark aimed directly at the symbol. "Donald," Vance said, his voice dripping with irony, "I've never seen you wear a cross before. Is that your new campaign accessory?" The remark, delivered in front of thousands of supporters, was both unexpected and incendiary. It was a clear dig at Trump's attempt to harness religious symbolism for political gain, a strategy that many conservatives view as sacrosanct. At that moment, the rally fell into a brief, palpable silence. Every eye in the room shifted toward the stage, waiting for Trump's response. The tension was so thick that you could almost cut it with a knife. I recall feeling the weight of that silence as it underscored the seriousness of what was unfolding. What began as a minor quip had quickly morphed into a full-blown political spectacle, one that would be dissected by pundits and commentators across the nation in the days to follow. In this opening chapter, I set the stage for an encounter that was not just a personal clash between two prominent figures, but a symbolic confrontation that resonated with the entire American electorate. With the stage set in a crucial swing state and the eyes of millions fixed on the rally, the events of that day promised to redefine the contours of political discourse in our turbulent times. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into the events of that day and the ripple effects that followed. The scene was set on a brisk autumn day in suburban Cincinnati, Ohio, a state that frequently finds itself at the heart of America's electoral battles. The rally was held at a large community center, its walls draped with American flags and red, white, and blue banners. The atmosphere was charged with patriotism and high-stakes political ambition. Thousands of supporters, many of whom had traveled from far and wide, packed the hall with the collective hope of witnessing history in the making. Among them were longtime loyalists and new converts, all eager to see their political heroes take center stage. In the weeks prior, the political landscape had grown increasingly polarized. Former President Donald Trump was still a dominant figure in Republican politics, celebrated for his unconventional methods and his ability to galvanize a devoted base. However, beneath that veneer of confidence, there was a simmering tension, a tension embodied by J.D. Vance, a man whose political journey had taken him from sharp critic to reluctant ally of Trump. Vance, known for his rugged background and intellectual posturing, had always commanded attention, but his shifting loyalties had now placed him in a precarious position. His supporters wondered whether his alliance with Trump was born of genuine belief or political expediency, and many skeptics were ready to pounce on any perceived sign of hypocrisy. As the rally unfolded, the program featured a series of speeches that struck a chord with the audience. Local politicians, each representing a piece of the broader American narrative, took turns addressing the crowd. They lauded traditional American values, condemned what they saw as the misguided policies of their opponents, and painted a vivid picture of a nation on the cusp of a rebirth under strong, decisive leadership. Amid this rhetoric, the air was filled with the sound of clapping hands, enthusiastic cheers, and the occasional shout of USA, USA from the assembled crowd. The energy was infectious, a testament to the deep-seated patriotism that many in the audience held dear. Then, in the midst of this orchestrated enthusiasm, a moment of unexpected drama occurred. After a particularly rousing speech by a local official, all eyes turned to the stage as Donald Trump made his entrance. His arrival was nothing short of theatrical, a confident stride, a charismatic smile, and an unmistakable aura of authority. Yet, what truly set him apart on that day was the conspicuous gold cross hanging from his neck. It was an accessory that, while seemingly innocuous, carried a potent message. In a country where religious identity often intersects with political allegiance, the cross was a symbol loaded with expectations. For many in the audience, it was a reminder of the moral and cultural foundations they believed should underpin governance. Not one to let such details pass unnoticed, J.D. Vance seized the moment. As Trump approached the microphone, Vance's tone took on a sharp, sardonic edge. "Donald," he remarked with deliberate emphasis, "I've never seen you wear a cross before. Is that your new campaign accessory?" His words, delivered with a hint of derision, rippled through the audience like a shockwave. In that instant, what was intended as a light-hearted jab escalated into a direct challenge, a challenge not just to Trump's image, but to the very authenticity of his public persona. The hall fell into a stunned silence. The murmur of conversation died down, replaced by an anticipatory hush as every attendee waited for Trump's reaction. It was a moment fraught with risk. A misstep could damage Trump's carefully curated image, while a clever retort might only further ignite the partisan fervor of his supporters. In that split second, the political fate of the rally, and perhaps even a broader narrative about leadership and authenticity, hung in the balance. The stakes were high, and the subtle interplay between personal image and political symbolism was laid bare for all to see. The rally, intended to be a unifying event, had inadvertently become a stage for an impromptu political duel. Amid the patriotic chants and the palpable excitement, this moment of confrontation would come to symbolize the growing tensions within the party, a microcosm of the larger ideological battles playing out across the nation. In a moment that seemed to freeze time, former President Trump stood before the expectant crowd with an almost imperceptible pause. The silence that followed J.D. Vance's pointed remark was heavy with anticipation. Trump's eyes scanned the room, his expression a mixture of calculated amusement and steely determination. It was as if he were mentally rehearsing his response, weighing every word before allowing it to break the charged quiet. Finally, with a wry smile playing at the corner of his mouth, he stepped forward toward the microphone, his posture exuding the confidence of a man who knew exactly how to turn a provocation into a public spectacle. "J.D.," he began, his tone light yet cutting. Maybe you should worry less about what I'm wearing and more about what you're saying." The remark elicited a burst of laughter and applause from the audience, a reaction that confirmed what many already suspected: Trump was in his element. The crowd's cheers rolled like waves across the hall, a spontaneous outpouring of support that drowned out any dissent. The energy in the room shifted dramatically as Trump continued, each word measured to both defuse and intensify the situation simultaneously. He paused for a moment, letting the cheers build, before launching into a more pointed observation. "You know, I remember a time when you called me a threat to America. And well, it turns out I was right all along. I'm glad you finally saw the light." His tone was playful, yet laden with an undercurrent of triumph that left little doubt about his intent. Every syllable was designed to remind the audience of past criticisms while reasserting his dominance in the political arena. For a brief, almost imperceptible instant, J.D. Vance's face betrayed a flash of surprise and discomfort. He had not expected Trump to pivot so quickly to a counterattack that both referenced their shared history and inverted the narrative. Instead of engaging in a back-and-forth verbal spar, Trump had taken the opportunity to reframe the encounter entirely. The gold cross that had once been the focus of Vance's jibe now seemed to symbolize something far more significant: a declaration of personal conviction and political resilience. As the laughter and applause swelled once more, Trump continued, his voice resonating with the assured cadence of someone who has weathered countless controversies. "This cross isn't just an accessory. It's a sign of the values I stand by and the faith that guides me. And if anyone has a problem with that, well, that's on them." His words carried a dual message: a defense of his personal identity and an indirect reminder that the political battlefield was as much about perception as it was about policy. The exchange quickly became the highlight of the evening. Supporters cheered even louder, their voices merging into a single, resounding affirmation of Trump's leadership. Yet, amid the applause, there was an undercurrent of tension, a subtle acknowledgement that Vance had been caught off guard. The moment was a master class in political theater, demonstrating how a well-timed remark could recalibrate the dynamics of power in an instant. Vance, now forced into the spotlight under circumstances he hadn't anticipated, attempted to regain composure. He stepped forward, a measured smile on his face that betrayed a hint of unease. "Donald," he said, striving for calm, "I appreciate your views and the values you claim to uphold." His words, however, rang hollow in the face of Trump's unyielding confidence. The attempt to downplay the exchange was met with murmurs of discontent from the crowd, an unmistakable signal that the balance of power had shifted irreversibly. In the aftermath of the retort, the rally continued on its prearranged agenda. Yet the atmosphere had irrevocably changed. Trump's comeback had not only neutralized the initial provocation, but had also cemented his reputation as a political heavyweight capable of turning every slight into a strategic advantage. The incident, captured on numerous cameras, soon found its way onto social media and national news, where pundits and analysts alike dissected every nuance of his response. This wasn't just a moment of clever repartee. It was a definitive statement of resilience and a demonstration of the art of political maneuvering at its finest. In the immediate aftermath of the rally in suburban Cincinnati, the public's response and the media's coverage of the incident took on a life of their own. Almost as soon as video clips of Trump's swift, witty comeback began circulating on platforms like YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, the story exploded into a national conversation. The clip, in which Trump effortlessly flipped J.D. Vance's jab, quickly became a viral sensation, prompting endless commentary from supporters, detractors, and neutral observers alike. For many, this exchange wasn't merely an isolated incident. It was emblematic of the larger ideological battles that continue to define American politics. On social media, Trump's supporters flooded the comment sections with praise. Tweets and posts hailed his retort as proof of his unshakable leadership. Fans described the moment as pure genius and a masterstroke of political wit, underscoring the deep-rooted belief among his base that no one could challenge his authority. For them, the gold cross was not a gimmick, but rather a genuine expression of faith, a reminder that even in the political arena, personal convictions can be a source of strength. The rally's atmosphere, replete with patriotic chants and fervent applause, had been transformed into a virtual battleground where every supportive comment amplified the narrative of Trump's resilience. In stark contrast, mainstream media outlets and political commentators began dissecting the incident with a critical eye. Prestigious publications such as The Washington Post, Politico, and CNN offered in-depth analyses of the exchange, suggesting that the event was indicative of deeper fissures within the Republican Party. Many articles argued that while Trump's response had the effect of rallying his supporters, it also exposed the vulnerabilities inherent in a political system that increasingly relies on personal branding and spectacle over substantive policy debate. Analysts questioned whether such public confrontations might erode the public's trust in political discourse, replacing thoughtful discussion with entertainment-driven theatrics. Television talk shows and radio programs quickly picked up the story, dedicating entire segments to the incident. Panelists debated the implications of Trump's use of religious symbolism, with some asserting that his display of the gold cross was a calculated maneuver designed to resonate with conservative voters, while others contended that it was a superficial tactic that masked deeper policy shortcomings. The discussion extended beyond the immediate drama, touching on broader themes such as the erosion of civility in political debates and the increasing role of media spin in shaping public perception. Every pundit seemed to have an opinion, and the multiplicity of perspectives only added to the overall fervor. Local newspapers in Ohio, too, provided extensive coverage, interviewing rally attendees who recounted the electric atmosphere in the room. Many eyewitnesses described feeling an intense mixture of excitement and disbelief as the confrontation unfolded. It was like watching a live political thriller, one local resident remarked. Others noted that the incident, although seemingly trivial in its details, had come to symbolize the growing polarization within the party. The fact that a single remark could spark such a wide-ranging debate underscored just how fragile the unity among Republican ranks had become. As the days passed, the viral video continued to circulate, spawning memes, reaction videos, and even heated debates on cable news. Social media influencers and political bloggers alike seized upon the moment, using it to illustrate the modern reality of American politics, a realm where every comment is scrutinized and every gesture carries the weight of public opinion. The incident was dissected from every possible angle. Was Trump's retort a brilliant display of leadership or merely a convenient distraction from substantive issues? Could J.D. Vance recover from what many perceived as a public misstep, or was his credibility permanently tarnished? Amid these debates, a common thread emerged: the realization that the line between politics and entertainment was increasingly blurred. What had begun as a simple exchange on a rally stage had transformed into a phenomenon that encapsulated the state of American political discourse. It became clear that in this new era, every public moment was destined to become a talking point, a piece of the intricate mosaic that defined modern political life in the United States. Whether viewed as a triumph or a travesty, the incident had undeniably shifted the narrative, prompting both supporters and critics to reevaluate the very nature of leadership and authenticity in the public sphere. The showdown at the Cincinnati rally left ripples that extended far beyond the confines of that one event. In the wake of Trump's razor-sharp retort to J.D. Vance's provocation, the political landscape, both on and off the stage, underwent a subtle yet profound transformation. For Trump's ardent supporters, the incident reinforced an image of a leader who not only understood the power of symbolism, but also possessed an uncanny ability to turn every challenge into a triumph. Clips of the exchange flooded social media, and countless commentators heralded it as a moment that captured the essence of Trump's unyielding spirit: undaunted, resourceful, and unapologetically bold. For many within the Republican Party, however, the incident also served as a stark reminder of the internal divisions that have long been simmering beneath the surface. J.D. Vance, who had once been seen as a promising voice capable of bridging ideological gaps, suddenly found himself at the center of a maelstrom. Critics argued that his attempt to undermine Trump's image by targeting his personal style had backfired, exposing underlying weaknesses in his own positioning. In the eyes of some party insiders, Vance's miscalculation signaled not only a loss of credibility, but also a deeper fissure, a sign that the coalition of conservatives was more fragile than it appeared. The aftermath of the exchange sparked a flurry of media coverage that continued well beyond the rally itself. Television programs, print articles, and online discussions converged on the theme of authenticity versus performance in modern politics. Many pundits opined that Trump's handling of the situation was emblematic of a new kind of political strategy, one that placed a premium on charisma and the ability to control the narrative in real time. His deliberate use of the gold cross, a symbol he transformed from a potential liability into a badge of honor, was dissected as both a personal statement of faith and a calculated political maneuver. For Trump, the accessory was not merely decorative. It had become a powerful tool in rallying conservative voters who saw it as a sign of unwavering commitment to their core values. In contrast, the fallout for Vance was equally instructive. Once lauded as a potential reformer within the party, his reputation took a hit as public opinion shifted. The exchange not only raised questions about his ability to handle high-pressure moments, but also forced a re-examination of his political narrative. Some commentators warned that if such public confrontations became commonplace, they could erode trust in political figures, turning every public remark into fodder for partisan warfare. In this light, the incident was seen as both a symptom and a catalyst, an illustration of how personal ambition and strategic missteps can reshape the internal dynamics of a political movement. Beyond the immediate political repercussions, the encounter ignited broader debates about the role of spectacle in American politics. Observers noted that the modern political arena had evolved into a stage where every gesture, every quip, and every symbol was subject to intense scrutiny. The collision between Trump and Vance was emblematic of a culture in which political discourse increasingly resembles performance art, a realm where authenticity and image are inextricably intertwined. For many voters, the incident underscored a growing disillusionment with a system that often seems more focused on showmanship than on addressing the substantive issues facing the nation. In the end, the Cincinnati rally became a defining moment, a microcosm of the complex interplay between personal image, political strategy, and public perception in today's America. Trump's ability to turn a potentially damaging remark into a resounding victory reinforced his status as a master of the modern political arena, while Vance's faltering response highlighted the precarious nature of political alliances built on shifting loyalties. As the dust settled, the lessons from that day resonated far beyond the immediate aftermath, prompting political observers to reflect on the evolving nature of leadership in an era defined by rapid media cycles and polarized viewpoints. This incident, with all its drama and nuance, ultimately stands as a testament to the multifaceted realities of American politics, a reminder that in today's world, every public moment carries the potential to reshape narratives, influence electoral fortunes, and redefine the boundaries of political engagement.